test. Hello, everybody, and thank you for being here. Welcome to the final evening, the final event of the Friends of the Forest Give a Hoot virtual benefit. We have been having such a great time this week. We've had 3 different events already. We had a blast last night at Virtual Trivia Night. A huge thank you to Eric from the Brown Lantern for hosting and being our quiz master for that. And the 2 nights before that, we had some incredible guest speakers that we really enjoyed having. On Tuesday, we had Antarctic researcher Allison Cusick, and on Wednesday, we had Pacific Northwest artist Tony Angel. And both evenings were filled with knowledge, with humor, with phenomenal storytelling. They are both up on our YouTube page right now, and there are links to them actually right below us on this page right here. So after this whole webcast is done, you can feel free to go and check those out on our YouTube page. They're worth watching if you haven't seen them, or maybe even rewatching if you have seen them. So also this year, we are having our auction, and this year is different because our auction is only one item. It is this beautiful painting painted for us by Alfred Currier specifically for this event. It's called Fidal Glow, and anybody that knows the forest lands, that knows the Fidalgo Island area, will recognize the very clear outlines of Mount Erie and Sugarloaf right there. This is a beautiful piece, and definitely one that would fit well in anybody's collection, whether you're a Currier collector or not, just a fine art lover. So please be sure to register for that and check that out. Once again, that link can be found right below this webinar on this very same page. You can go ahead and register for that. And as we go through the evening here, we are going to have a time towards the end that is kind of the official raising of the paddle. However, if you feel so inspired to donate to Friends of the Forest before then, if you are just chomping at the bit to help us out and help fund our education programs, you can do that at any time. Right below this video, again, there is a link that says donate to the Friends, I believe. You can click that at any time. It will take you through the process without stopping the video. You should be able to go through the whole thing and keep listening and watching to what's going on here. So thank you for being here. Thank you for helping to support the Friends of the Forest. And we're really excited to get this going. So, but before we begin, I would like to acknowledge that no matter where you are, no matter where you might be joining us from today, we are all of us gathered here on the ancestral homelands of Indigenous peoples who have lived and cared for and continue to live and care for the land. On Fidalgo Island in Skagit County, we honor the Coast Salish, specifically the Samish, the Swinomish, and the Skagit. And here in Bellingham, where I am currently, we also honor the Coast Salish, specifically the Nooksack and the Lummi. So if you are somewhere else and you're unsure about the native peoples in your area, I really encourage you to take the time to learn about who came before you and how you can honor and support them now. A great place to start is by visiting the website native-land.ca, and that'll show you the Indigenous peoples that originally were in the area where you live. So please join me right now in expressing the deepest respect for our Indigenous neighbors and gratitude for their enduring stewardship of our shared lands and waterways. Thank you. I also want to take a moment to thank our sponsor for the auction and the live stream tonight, the Barrett Financial Community Caring Project. Barrett Financial has been such a strong supporter of us over the years, and we are so grateful to them, especially this year, to continue that sponsorship during this time of uncertainty, and really appreciate their support over the years. So thank you to the Barrett Financial and to specifically our Community Caring Project for your support and sponsorship. And thank you for being here. This is our largest fundraiser of the year. This is where it all happens. And as many of you that are joining us know, this is not typically what we do. This is not how this event actually happens most of the time, because this is not by any stretch of the imagination a normal year, as we all know. Because in a normal year, we'd be going into schools right now. We'd be providing pre-trip lessons to kids in the classroom to get them ready for their Friends of the Forest foray into the ACFL. Some schools actually would have started their trips already. They'd already be piling into buses for a short ride to the Heart Lake or to A Avenue and heading out into the trees to learn in nature, as we've done at Friends of the Forest for over 30 years. They'd be writing and drawing. They'd be getting up close and exploring. They'd be sitting and observing and learning in a way that only the forest can teach. In a normal year, we'd be leading community hikes right now for people of all ages, bringing them out in all walks of life into the ACFL, and taking them to places they may have never seen before, and teaching them things they may have never known before. Spending time in places we love, together with people that we love. In a normal year, we would have run our summer day camp called Forest Discovery in August. In fact, it would have been bigger and better than ever this year. We were expanding to more sessions to reach more kids than we ever had before, and we were increasing the length of all those sessions so all the kids would have more time learning in the forest, because this is one of our most popular programs. It fills up every year. There's always a wait list, and just like everything we do, because of the support from the community like you, this is a program that is completely free of charge to the participants. So in a normal year, we would have done that. And actually last year, we put together a video to kind of give folks a glimpse into the forest discovery experience. And we thought it'd be nice to kind of relive that right now and look at what it might have been like in a normal year. So we're going to watch that video right now. Man, those were the good old days. In a normal year, we'd all be together right now in the port building, perusing the silent auction, beverage in hand. We'd laugh with our friends and talk about the most recent owl dive bombing us, or how we caught a glimpse of one of the beavers on an early morning walk, or how Cranberry Lake felt just a little bit colder this summer than it had in years past. We'd be eating delicious music, listening to music, eating delicious food. And after we did that, after dinner, eating that delicious food, we would get to the business of bidding. And then about halfway through, we'd pause and we'd do our traditional raising of the paddle. And I'd stand back in awe at all of the hands that would go up over and over and over, the auctioneer calling out numbers as quick as he could, and a table full of volunteers furiously scribbling to try and keep track of everything. I'd get goosebumps, and gratitude would well up in me at the incredible support that this community provides to the Friends of the Forest. And then the business of bidding being done, we'd continue to celebrate, because that's what this event represents every year. A fundraiser, yes, but in essence a chance for us to be together and celebrate each other. Celebrate this incredible organization that I am so fortunate to get to be a part of, and celebrate you, the community that makes it all possible. Because from our inception, the Friends of the Forest has always been an organization of and for the community. Our mission is to preserve the ACFL, of course, but the only reason we are able to do that is because you care about the forest lands. because you recognize what an incredible place they are and how lucky we are to have access to them, especially right now when things are different. And in a normal year, I'd get to look out at a whole crowd of faces looking back at me right now as I said, thank you. Thank you, each and every one of you, for caring, for supporting the Friends, and prioritizing this beautiful piece of land and the community that surrounds it. I don't need to tell you that this is not a normal year. But that doesn't mean that there is nothing to celebrate. We've all had to make changes to get through this time, and Friends of the Forest is no exception. Some of these changes this year were expected, but most were not. But I am so proud at what we've been able to accomplish this year, in spite of all the changes, all the challenges, and everything that we've been able to do. One of the things that we knew to expect this year was the departure of 2 of our incredible staff members. Many of you that are watching out there know our former communications director, Mackenzie Wilson. Heck, some of you grew up with her. She has been a huge part of the success of our benefits over the past few years, and she's also completely reshaped how we communicate with our members and the community. This year, she moved on to the next phase of her adventures, but she did want to stop on in and just say hello to everybody at this event that she misses so much.
Hey friends, it's Mackenzie. You might remember me as the former Friends of the Forest Communications Director. You might have seen me in the office or at one of the annual auctions the past couple years. And previous to having the opportunity to work at Friends of the Forest, I was able to participate in the Friends educational programs when I was a student in Anacortes. And I really credit that with reaffirming my interest in science, and I'm actually still studying science. A couple months ago, I moved to Sioux Falls, South Dakota. That's where I am right now. It's actually snowing for the first time this year right now. And I'm studying genetic counseling at Augustana University. And I am loving my program, but I am pretty homesick and missing the trails desperately. I think even after having been away from Anacortes for a while, I'm still constantly reminded of how special the ACFL is and how it's something to work to protect. And I know this year's been a really tough one for everyone and nothing really feels normal. I know it's a bummer to not be able to meet in person and have a typical auction like we normally do because it's so fun. But if you're watching this video, thank you for supporting the Friends, and I can't wait to see what they accomplish in the coming years. And I hope to see you in the woods when I'm home.
Thanks, Mackenzie. A few of us were lucky enough to get to play some trivia with Mackenzie last night. She joined in for the Zoom trivia that we had, so that was a lot of fun. I also know she's going to be coming back to Anacortes for her winter break here very soon, so our hope is to see her in the forest before long. You also may have noticed in some of those pictures or the forest discovery video we played earlier, a familiar face that you may have gone on a hike with in the past or may have led your kids on a hike. Our former forest educator, Melissa Courtney. She was with us for almost 2 years and completely revamped and reworked our educational programs. She helped us to craft lessons that better reflect what kids are learning in school and to support the curriculum that teachers are actually teaching in the classroom. We were really sad to say goodbye to her this year, but also very excited for her next adventures. And she also wanted to come on in and say a quick hello.
Hi Forest Friends, it's Melissa, your former forest educator, and I'm here with Layla Fern, and we just moved across the country, so I'm over here in Florida busy keeping this one happy and helping her dad prepare for his upcoming deployment. I feel really lucky to be able to say hello to you all today. I miss you all so much. Being a part of the Friends was such a special and amazing experience, and it wasn't just because of the ACFL itself, it was because I got to know all of you. We have such a strong, vibrant, and caring forest community, and getting to know all of you and how the Friends has developed over the years was such a special thing to be a part of. And I really can't wait to see what else the Friends comes up with in the future. From afar, I've been watching already, and I've noticed all the cool things that they've been putting out during the pandemic for people to do and stay engaged and connected with the forest through online things and through individual activities. It's so important to keep that connection, especially, and build it, especially in our young ones, because the forest is such an important part of all of our lives, as I'm sure all of you know. Anyways, I really can't wait to see what the Friends puts out and how they continue to grow. And I want to say once again, I miss you guys so much. I hope you're out enjoying the trails for me. Say hello to all the plants and animals, and maybe get out on trail 212 or 108 if you're able to safely. Those are some of my favorite trails, and I miss them so much. Well, anyways, I'm happy I got to say hello to you all today, and thank you all so much for your support.
Melissa and little Layla Fern, the next generation of forest friends right there. So good to see them. What an adventure she has been on. So these are some of the changes from this year, and of course we're sad to see them go, but we've been incredibly fortunate to have hired on a brand new forest educator to take over. Beck Pittman has joined the Friends of the Forest at a time when we've had to be more creative and more nimble in our programming than ever before. She actually applied for the job at the beginning of March. By the time she interviewed, the pandemic had started, and when she began work in June, I could have written up a completely different job description than what she thought she was signed up for. But she really hit the ground running, and I just could not be happier with what she's already accomplished and to have her to be a part of the Friends of the Forest. So some of you have met her already, but we're really fortunate to be able to bring her virtually here with us tonight as well, so you can all get a chance to meet our new forest educator, Beck Pittman. Hey, Beck.
Hey, can you hear me?
We can hear you. I can hear you.
Awesome.
How you doing?
I'm over here at the depot, downtown Anacortes.
Yeah, it looks like familiar setting behind you there.
Yeah, we got some art from Melissa right here. We got some art from Al right here.
So, Melissa, why don't you just start by telling us about you and what got you so excited to be outdoors and to educate people about nature?
Yeah, so as I have talked about this a lot, but it's a long story. I mean, I have so many influences, but really just coming straight from early childhood. I've always been outside. I've always been a kid who goes outside, riding bikes, climbing trees. The neighborhood I grew up in was next to our town's conservation land in Massachusetts outside Boston. So a little bit like the ACFL, where it was just a preserved piece of forest. And that piece of forest was so important to me growing up. I would just spend so much time there. I was just interested in animals and plants, and that just led me into studying biology and environmental studies in college. So I have a bachelor's of science in biology and a minor in environmental studies. And I went to college in North Carolina. And right after that, I moved straight to Seattle. And I think that my time that I spent in Seattle working was the catalyst that got me here into environmental ed, because I started there with a few years of AmeriCorps through Earth Corps, and they do environmental restoration with folks from all over the globe. So I was working with local community groups who were volunteering, planting native plant species and improving their local habitat. And that just working with those groups and engaging those folks with nature really lit me up. And I got very excited to learn more about connecting people to nature. So, and building that emotional connection as well. And so I went to grad school for science curriculum and instruction and environmental education. So that's kind of what has brought me here to Friends of the Forest.
Awesome. So what in your opinion is, what are some of the most important principles or goals of outdoor education? Why is what we do so important?
Well, Asa, I could talk about this all day. It's one of my favorite things to think about. I think about it all the time about how people and the ecosystem and the intersections that we have and the care that we have, and the participation that we have in the outdoor natural world. And there's just a lot to be said, and I will try not to go off on a tangent here. But well, I think the first most important thing I do want to say right off the bat is that access to nature is an essential human right. And I'm very fortunate and grateful to be working with an organization that values that sort of access. The programming is free. So I think that's kind of my first point of importance of environmental ed. And then, it really provides a space for kids to follow their own learning interests and to learn at their own pace and to learn authentically and to learn in context with the natural world and what they see going on around them. And when environmental education is place based and inquiry based, then those kiddos are going to have a really authentic time outside. They're going to be using their senses to observe real natural phenomena and make meaningful connections. So I think it's just a wonderful place for kids to be now, and it has amazing outcomes for the future too when we're investing in our children like this.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, all of that being said, what made you interested in coming to Friends of the Forest? What drew you to this organization, and why did you apply for the job and come to work with us?
Well, when I was reading more about Friends of the Forest, I read basically the origin story. It almost feels like a superhero story because of how powerful it is. Like, the community gets together to save this giant chunk of contiguous ecosystem. I mean, and the partnerships that came out of it with the Parks Department and all the organizations that we work with in town in Anacortes. I've been working in environmental education and in the nonprofit world for years and years, and I don't think I've ever felt such a tight knit community before. This organization in this community is, you can just feel it, that people are really passionate about this place and this land. And so when I was researching the organization, that really came out loud and clear to me and really inspired me.
Right on. So you've been on the job now for a couple months. You started, like I said, in June. And as I said earlier, this has not been the spending lots of time outside with a big group of kids, a big group of community members. It's been very different that you've had to kind of operate under. So what are some of the things that you've done since you've been here that have kind of shown this pivot that you've had to make?
Well, we did not get outside this summer as much as we would have wanted to. So, of course, we're looking for other ways to engage people and educate the community about the environment. Much like everybody else, we've turned virtual and digital. So we have some lessons online that folks can download, and we have some videos online. And so one of the first things that I think I did was just make a little set of trail cards, and they're kind of set up like recipe cards. So you can print them out, cut them out, bring them with you. They're easy and light, and they're simple. And there's many variations of them. The cards are classic environmental ed activities to do outside, but they've been written in a way so anybody of any age can do them. You can do it in the park, you can do it in the ACFL, you can do it in your backyard, just wherever you have a little spot of nature. And I think, guys, are you showing those?
Yep, they were up on the screen. We just looked through them. Yeah, and that's one of the things I love about these cards is you can you can do them in your backyard. You can do them at the
Yeah.
local park. You can take them to the ACFL. It's obviously the most fun and one of the best places to do it, but you don't have to go out there, especially when we're talking equity in terms of not being able to get out there potentially. So that was a great part about that. And I know this is one of 2 sets that you have online. So you did kind of these more basic cards, and there's a number of different options like that. But then you also had done some more kind of in-depth lesson plans as well. So why don't you tell us about one of those?
Yeah, let's talk about the watershed model. The watershed model curriculum activity plan on our website is a big one. It's a long project, a lot of steps, and so it's really rich with opportunity. It's written in a way that coaches adults to go through this activity with their young learner in a way with the mindset that an educator or teacher might have. So the questions are laid out and explained so that you understand that you're asking your young learner to think divergently, that you're asking your young learner to really use their true observations to make some conclusions. And the watershed model project has a lot of different layers to it. So you're going to start out by collecting materials around your house, and hopefully this has the potential to be a zero waste project because it's just using recycled materials, whatever you have around. And we also have lots of those materials here at the offices. So if anyone wants to come and borrow or check out, we've got project and materials for you all to use here. So you're building your model. There's a great Play-Doh recipe in there. There's figurines that you can print out and cut and put in the model. And there's lots of opportunities for artistic expression in this project, which I think is really important for a STEM-based project, science, technology, engineering, and math. I feel like that's what this model project really leans into, but it includes all of that artistic and creative and crafty experience as well. And then there are lots of prompts inside, questions inside, ways to have conversations with your young learner over this model after you build it. It can really be a conversation piece. And then we really encourage you to get out into the world and see.
I think I lost you there, Beck. Can you hear me, Beck? I can't hear you. Can you hear me? Okay. Well, he's here, but one of the things that Beck has also been working on has been some great videos that she's been able to post as well. So we are going to play right now is the this Beaver ACFL Beavers in the ACFL video that she put together. So we're going to play that together right now and see if we can't get the sound back here.
In the Pacific Northwest, so-called Beaver believers profess Beaver taught salmon to jump, a lesson which comes from a Haida legend. Jumping is a skill that, for salmon, is vital if their anadromous adaptation is to be worth anything. But beavers' relationship with salmon doesn't end there. Once a beaver begins building in an ecosystem, their influence on waterways creates complexities, varying the pools and riffles and stream channels, diversifying plant life, attracting diverse insect and bird life, and so on up the food chain. This creates ideal habitat for juvenile salmon, with safe places to find food and shelter. So, since beaver are so important to one of our most iconic species here in Washington, let's talk a little bit more about them. This creature of North America has been the focus of human interest for centuries, and humans have identified with them as fellow builders and engineers tinkering with the environment to better suit their needs. Beaver build many different things. They build dams to alter water levels. They build scent mounds, which delineate territory. lodges for shelter and raising young. Their bodies are adapted for the myriad of activities they engage in. After the capybara, they are the largest rodent, and being large helps them conserve heat. They have nictitating membranes over their eyes, which is a third transparent eyelid for underwater swimming. Their nostrils and ears close underwater. They can hold their breath for 15 minutes. The back inside surface of their front 2 teeth is softer than the front outer side, allowing the inner side to wear faster, creating that razor-sharp edge for biting. Their front paws are adapted for dexterity. Their hind feet are webbed. And while their tail is adapted for many uses, slapping mud onto a dam is not one of them. They do use their tail to smack the water to warn of predators, as a rudder while swimming underwater, and as a balancing tool while on land. They use their front paws for carrying, building, and adding mud to dams. Here in the Anacortes Community Forest Lands, we don't have a major river that the beavers have dammed. Not all beavers dam rivers. When the beavers moved in around 1985, they found some water to work with. They built their dams around the southern end of Little Cranberry Lake, which raised the water to the south of their dams to what is now known as Big Beaver Pond. Beavers raise water levels to have better access to preferred foods. They aren't as elegant walking on land as they are as swimmers. To keep water high enough so their underwater entrance to their lodge is secure from predators. And in areas where the winters get cold enough, they need a high water level so they can still swim under the ice and access their winter cache of food they've stuck in the mud down below. The beavers that live and work in the ACFL have created rich, gorgeous yellow pond lily farms. During my effortful kayaking around the pond, I was thankful to find pathways through the lily the beaver have cleared, and I was curious about the mounds where they must perch and eat the rhizomes of the lily. Beaver prefer pond lily for spring and summer feeding, and their engineering activity creates ideal habitat for yellow pond lily to grow. The pond ecosystem here is complex and full of life, and everything is linked to and supported by the beaver activity, directly or indirectly. Humans remain beaver's main predator. Humans hunted beaver for fur almost to extinction, but with proper regulation and widening cultural respect, they have become one of the greatest species comeback stories yet. Sometimes beaver are viewed as pesky, a nuisance, or a threat. But people in the ACFL should take care to treat our beaver friends well. We can easily live in harmony with beaver, and we benefit from their presence too. Because beaver maintain water levels, they keep downstream areas and wetlands from excessively flooding. They also keep groundwater levels replenished. So please don't interfere with beaver dams or any of their structures. We need the beaver to do what they do, and so do the rest of the flora and fauna that call the rich ecosystems in the ACFL home. Find out more about beavers by doing a little online research, or better yet, come down to the ACFL to observe them for yourself. Just remember to stay on the trails, leave nothing but footprints, and take nothing but memories. Beaver are industrious, focused on family, and their babies are endearingly cute. This friend of the forest is a beaver believer.
Right on. So I think that we have our sound back.
Just remember to stay on the trails, leave nothing but
So I think we've got our sound back. I can hear you, Beck. Can you hear me? Beck, can you hear me?
You there?
I can hear you. I can hear you.
We're live.
I can hear you. I don't know why you can't hear me, but
That's okay. I can hear you.
How about now? Just got to say, we've practiced this a number of times and have not had this issue before, so apologies to everybody out there. I think that everybody can hear both of us, so I'm just going to kind of keep rolling here and move on to the fact that initially we were only auctioning off the Alfred Currier painting, but we could not resist sweetening the deal just a little bit, and so we actually added some of the original drawings from the movie that you just saw to the auction website. And you can actually tell that they're originals because some of them even come with the artist's coffee stains on them. So if you want to go check those out, we've got the Alfred Currier painting as well, and it looks like we've only had maybe 2 bids on that so far, and it's up to $1,200. So right now that is still a steal, and you not only can bid on the Alfred Currier painting, but you can bid on some of those original, I should say, drawings from the Beavers in the ACFL video that Beck put together. So as we move along here, I was going to ask Beck what her next programs are that she is putting together, and I'm going to try one last time to get her on board here. Can you hear me, Beck? So a couple of the things that we're really excited about. Beck's already been working on a program with the Anacortes Family Center this year, and we've gone on several outings already and have been very successful, and they have been so much fun to work with, and they're actually wanting to do regular programs, which is what we had hoped for last year as we were coming into this year before COVID started. But we've been able to get out there with some of their kids and their volunteers, and we're planning on getting out to the forest lands regularly with them, at least once a month, if not more, like once every week or 2 weeks. So we are really excited about that for this coming up year. But the big thing that we are working on right now, the thing that everybody is trying to figure out, is how to navigate COVID, and how do we work with the schools? How do we support the schools, support families in navigating this new environment? So part of what we're doing is the stuff that you've seen already, stuff like the lesson plans that anybody can do in their own home that they can use to bolster their at-home curriculum parents can do with their kids. But however, we're also looking at doing some actual outings with the schools, just kind of like we used to do in the past as well. So we were in conversations with the assistant superintendent earlier this week as to how we can best navigate the ins and outs of the new school schedule. So as many of you may know, they are going to start school in November with some in-person classes, and that's going to consist of an A block and a B block. And so we're talking with the school district about how we can potentially come in to provide some outdoor time and learning during either of those blocks. And that doesn't necessarily mean going to the ACFL. That might mean just going into the to the schools and working with the kids right outside in their own schoolyards, just getting them outside, making sure that they're still getting that hands-on learning and education. That also might be working with the kids that are at home so that they are getting their PE time in, their science time in, and kind of staggering those different blocks. So while the A block is in school, the B block might be out with us in the forest and getting school-approved physical education, science time with Friends of the Forest out in the school land. And then the other really big, exciting thing that we are working on right now is we are about to expand our forest discovery program. So you saw earlier the video from our summer program, and typically that's all it is a summer program. But we are really excited to expand it to be a year-round seasonal program where we are enrolling kids by the season, and they are continuing to come out with us week by week consistently so that we're building those relationships with the same kids and making sure. All right, I think we are back live here. It's hard to tell. I hope that there's still some folks out there watching. But we are back in it at the moment, folks. And I think my friend Beck is here as well. Beck, can you hear me now?
I'm here.
All right. Well, this is why we like working outdoors and not on the computer, isn't it?
That's why I work outdoorsy.
All right, on. So, I was just talking and telling folks about the family center, and then I was talking about the school programming that we were doing too. So maybe we'll just pick right back up at the school programming. We talked a little bit about the different blocks and how we're going to try and support the schools and how we're going to try and really work with them to make things as smooth and simple as possible, because we know that they are really doing everything that they can at the moment and very stressed out. So maybe you can tell us a little more about that.
I think that when we were talking earlier about this, that I said something about that it's like a new year for everybody. So even old veteran teachers are feeling like this is their first teaching year, because everyone is, reworking their schedules and classes and materials, and we're doing the same. So we've got all the materials we have to think about when we group the students in different groups, when we're working with the school district, when we're working with family center. It's just going to be more kids and groups to think about. So it's more planning, it's more prep, it's more sanitizing.
Yeah.
More masks, more temperature taking, longer sign in period. And when we take kids out to the forest, they're farther apart. So yeah, we're dealing with all the new stuff like everybody else, and working with the school groups, we just really want to make sure that we're supporting the teachers in the ways that they need, that we're enriching the students' learning throughout the year. We can provide, whether that's PE or science, some of those more, I would say I think the schools are working on core skills like literacy and math. And so everything around that, the community is really jumping in to help and support in all these different ways. And Friends of the Forest is one of those organizations that we're just trying hard to support everybody that's trying to deal with these changes.
Yeah, absolutely. We're all navigating a new world and all having to be nimble and working off the cuff. So and
a lot of improv,
a lot of improv, yeah. And a lot of, it's going to be a lot of, okay, we're going to try this out. We're going to, go and do this in the morning with this class and then see how that works. And then maybe we'll take the positive things from that and adjust for the next. And, there's going to be a lot of thinking on our feet. But the important part for us is that we are providing that support and we are working as closely as possible with the school district, and we and the parents and the families, and giving them that support. And
some feedback that I've heard from families already is just thinking about their new schedules with the way that everything is scheduled these days with school and extracurricular activities, and that things just take longer now to do. And so we're just trying to be responsive to our community.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so that's why we're here tonight. That's why we are all gathering, and why we are having this fundraiser is to raise some money for all that, and to support this new world. And whether it's more time that you are having to put into not only reimagining the lesson plans we have already, but creating entirely new lesson plans for doing in completely different places, or whether that is money for more materials, because we can't share things. We can't share clipboards. We can't share pens and pencils. We can't, we can't share materials anymore. Or whether that's things like personal protective equipment, so that everybody is able to be safe, whether that's you, whether that's the kids, whether that's the teachers that are joining us. So there's a whole world of different things that we never really had to think about before. And that in order to effectively provide these new programs and to expand what we're doing, like we're doing with Forest Discovery, where we're completely expanding that program during a very difficult time. So that's what we're doing here tonight. That's why we're trying to raise this money. As of the start time, we are almost at about 50% of our goal. And so that's pretty darn good already. And the even better news is that we have actually secured a $10,000 pot of matching funds for any money that we raise during this Raise the Paddle. And if you've been waiting for the Raise the Paddle, this is the moment right now. We're about to start the Raise the Paddle. I'm not going to go through tier by tier like we would at the auction, and who wants to donate $2,000, who wants to donate $1,500. We're just going to do it all at once. But if you've been waiting for the Raise the Paddle, this is the moment. And we do have $10,000 that if we can match that between now and 7 p.m., because we have extended our auction time as well, then we're going to be able to get that matching fund. And that fund is coming from $5,000 from the Barrett Financial Community Cares Program, and then another $5,000 from several different members who are wishing to remain anonymous. So we've got a nice pot, and we're hoping that we can bring that in right now. And speaking of raise the paddle here, I just want to...
You have your paddle, Lisa?
Got my paddle right here. I'm raising my paddle. It's actually my wife's paddle, but hey, we're improvising. So that's what this night is about. That's why we're all here. It's you all supporting this incredible organization as you have for years and years and years. And we're asking you to if you are able to reach into that pocket. I know not everybody's able to, but if you can, maybe you're somebody that used to go to the benefits and now you don't have to buy a ticket. And now you're not bidding on a silent auction item. And now you're not bidding on a live auction item. So if you are able to reach into the pocket and support us right now, that's what we're asking this evening. Now, we also have one last video I do want to show you, and I'm really proud and excited about this one. We've been working with with a new group of friends called Rain Dog Photo and Video, and they helped us to create a really incredible video about the ACFL, about the importance of the Friends, and really that just kind of captures the spirit of why we are here and why we do what we do, why it's so important to the community. So I'm going to play that in just a second. That shouldn't stop you from bidding, and that shouldn't stop you from donating. And if you don't remember, you can click the right below that says donate to the Friends. You can still watch the video and donate at the same time. So it should be able to do both at once. And we'll check back in a few minutes after this video, and we'll let you know where we're at. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you for being here, and I hope you enjoy this video as much as I have enjoyed it.
It's so great to be here today. I'm Lori Keir. I'm the mayor of Anacortes.
My name is Charlie Collins, and I'm currently the president of the Friends of the Forest.
I'm Uta Collins. I'm Charlie's wife.
My name's Carolyn Moulton. I own Bike Spot, the bike repair shop, with my partner Nick Stowe here, and I also serve on the Anacortes City Council.
My name is Bob Vokes. I'm the assistant director at Anacortes Parks and Recreation.
I am Helen, and this is Brian, and we've got Kyle, Tommy, and Caitlin, and we're the Worthingtons.
My name is Rob Skelton. I am a board member at Friends of the Forest.
I'm Jane Ford Andridge. I worked for Friends of the Forest, and now I'm back on the board.
My name is Jane Billinghurst, and I've been a resident of Anacortes for over 20 years now.
Well, to have a city that has around 3,000 acres of forest lands in the city limits, I think you'd be hard to find another small city on the planet close to this kind of a resource.
But if you look around, towns and cities, they don't have this.
My first experience in the ACFL was probably hiking up Mount Erie with my siblings. My parents would just cut us loose and let us be children, running all day long, and I remember hiking up to the top of Sugarloaf.
I love mountain biking in the ACFL because it's so accessible. You can come to a trailhead from most any part of town and exit in another trailhead and do all these great loops. And it's home. It's like a beautiful backyard that we all share.
I think it's unique in just the fact that it's here, and that there are also the long history of the city and the Friends of the Forest working to, again, protect, enhance, and educate.
The changes I feel like I've noticed are obviously there's more people using the trails. Generally, I feel like people are pretty respectful of the area. So although there are a lot more people using it, it really makes me appreciate the education part of what we're able to do, because when you have people using the trails that are well educated about where they are, it can be a positive thing. We can learn from them, I can learn from them, they can learn from us.
I never knew that the Ghost of the Forest existed until we found it with the Friends of the Forest, and that was really cool.
The Ghost of the Forest made a big impact.
Yes.
I've gone on mountain biking with them, and all of a sudden they will slam on their brakes and the Ghost of the Forest, and they'll run over and try and find it. It made a big impact.
It did for sure.
There's a pride in this resource that we have. People travel from a long way to come here. And I think that it's something that we're all responsible for looking after. And so I think it draws the community together, and it also gives the community a place where they can go out and recreate.
I would say some of the biggest challenges facing the ACFL are just usage. More people in the forest of all different age groups, and I think just the Friends of the Forest is just important in spreading the word in our community that we want to keep this around and to take care of this resource for the future.
My first experiences with Friends of the Forest were with other board members of Friends of the Forest that I happened to know through the community. They were nice people, they were good people, they seemed to have a good head on their shoulders about the balance between recreation, preservation, and putting energy into something that they really cared about.
I've had very positive experiences with Friends of the Forest. My kids went through the forest programs when they were forest discovery programs when they were kids, and the school programs, and my mother as an older person went on the community hikes, and so we've really appreciated what Friends of the Forest has to offer us.
Having grown up here, again, I had such a wonderful childhood, and coming back here with a fresh set of eyes, I have a whole new appreciation for what we have here, what it offers the community. It would be a very, very sad thing to see it either drastically change or go away altogether.
I think the Friends can have a vital role in helping to address climate change in user groups by just teaching the next generation and our community members how fragile the forest is, how important the forest is to us.
All these animals and creatures we get to see, the eagles and owls and bats flying over our house. And squirrels and the quail. I mean, everything that they wouldn't have a home if this forest land wasn't here.
What a gift the forest lands are to our city, and for every one of us to use every day, be close to nature. And I'm always so grateful to those that have gone before us and had the forethought to create this and preserve this incredible treasure for Anacortes on Fidalgo Island.
Is the live broadcast over?
No, we're live right now.
We're live right now.
A huge thank you to our friends at Rain Dog Photo and Video Productions for that. They were a joy to work with, and really had a lot of fun making that video. And thanks to all the folks that came out to be a part of that too, that got to be in those testimonials. And that really kind of encapsulates what the forest means to people. And so, we are at about 6:05 p.m. We are still raising the paddle. And like I said, we'll have about another hour to get that matching donation of $10,000 in. So if you've donated already, thank you so much. If you haven't and you're not able to, that's okay. If you know somebody that might be interested, we'd love to get that matching $10,000. So maybe you can point them our way, point them to the website. We also have the Al Courier piece that is up for auction. We've extended it until 7 p.m. tonight. So if you have not taken a look at that and not bid on that, please go and do so. If you can click down below the Al Courier picture, go below the words, and then down at the bottom it says register for that Al Courier painting. So head on down there and you can click on that and it'll take you right to that website. And that's also where the original drawings from the Beavers in the ACFL video, created by none other than our forest educator, Beck Pittman, right here. So thank you all. Thank you so much for being supporters. If you have any questions, anything that we can help you with, please don't hesitate to reach out. And we will see you in the forest.